What's up, everyone? Just wanted to say hi to everyone in the group, and whether you're watching this live or on the replay, whether you're in Facebook or whether you're in YouTube, hello to all of you. Today, what I wanted to talk about is the importance of developing your listening skills as a fundamental part of your music production arsenal. Basically, without your listening skills, all your tools and all your techniques and all the stuff that you know about making music is not going to really matter that much if you don't have the listening skills dialed in. And this is something a lot of people really miss out on. They try to work, especially when they're starting out, they try to work on their music from a standpoint of taking only what's in their head and trying to get it onto the computer, right? Well, the issue with that is when you have poor listening skills, the things that are in your head as ideas are also going to be fairly limited. As you develop your listening skills and your ability to hear more in other songs, those ideas start stirring in your head as well. And then you notice when something seems to be missing in your song. Now, oftentimes, even as a beginner, you notice when something doesn't sound quite right, doesn't sound quite as professional as you wish it would. But because you don't have those listening skills developed, you can't really put your finger on what exactly is missing in your track that would take it from sounding average to sounding really professional and expensive, right? And here's the thing is you can really know where you're at with your music production just by gauging how well you are at listening to other music and how much you hear. Literally by practicing listening to songs and really trying to break down all the little sounds and all the background things and the atmospherics and the effects and the filters and being able to describe the sounds. You know, are they hard sounds or soft sounds? Do they kind of swell up slowly or do they have a strong attack? All these different things will help you improve your own vocabulary to describe what you're listening to. And then you're going to be much better able to translate those ideas directly into your own songs. Without having a vocabulary for what you're listening to and an understanding of how to break down and reverse engineer what you're hearing, it's going to be more difficult for you to set up the proper blueprint for your own music. You know, it's kind of like not being able to create a proper blueprint for building a house or writing a story or something like that. If you don't understand the details of the process of any sort of creative endeavor, what's going to happen is your results are going to be very basic and very elementary, you know, until you are able to really recognize the details that makes or breaks a certain form of art, right? So basically, here's the thing is you can only conceive of what you're able to hear, really, because your brain kind of stirs things that filters through it. And maybe on an unconscious level, you hear certain things that you don't notice consciously. But until you notice them consciously and are able to really define what it is you're listening to, then you're not really going to conceive of those ideas in your own songs, right? And that's why a lot of people, when they start out, they get their kick drum, they get their snare, they get their hi-hat, they get their bass, and then they wonder, well, I've filled all the gaps, you know, for my groove. Why is it not coming together? And I challenge you to sit down and listen to music more closely, and you'll start noticing those other details. You'll start noticing that, you know, the snare probably has a couple layers on it, or it gets a little bit, that layers get added later on in the song to help the song develop and help keep the intensity of the song and the interest of the song going. Same with hi-hat, same with bass. Sometimes a bass sound is actually a collection of sounds made into one sort of bass line, you know. Sometimes it can have as many as 3 different sounds, 4 different sounds, depending on what's necessary. I mean, I'm not saying that that's always the case. Sometimes all you need is one sound, but you have to know why you only need one sound, and you have to know why you would need multiple sounds to get a certain result, right? So these are some of the things that as you become a better producer, those layers and those details and the atmospheric sounds or the bed of sounds that your song sits on top of start to come to the forefront as far as your listening skills go. So I urge you to really take the time to start listening to songs in your own genre and trying to define what it is that you're hearing and what it is that those songs have in common as well, so that you can develop a better idea of crafting songs that will fit your style. Instead of trying to fit a drum kit into your style, you start with sounds and, you know, bass sounds and pad sounds and all the sounds that you need that you already know will work for your style of music, right? So let's see what else. I wrote a couple notes down here. Listening skills are also going to be super important for your ability to mix properly or EQ your songs properly. You know, here's the thing. It's not really how great your studio monitors are or your headphones are. What's really important is that you know what a good song sounds like on your speakers or your headphones. And that way, you know, okay, well, my speakers, when I'm playing a song that I know sounds great in a club, my speakers sound a little bit bright, right? Well, then you know that when you're working on your speakers, that you got to go a little bit brighter than what you think might be comfortable in order for it to translate better to a club. So those listening skills, understanding those details, are going to make a massive difference in your ability to mix your tracks as well. So it's not just about reverse engineering other songs and knowing the elements, but also understanding the subtleties in mixing that really create a properly balanced mix. Because if you don't mix things correctly, the groove won't lock very well. There's a fine line. I'm not saying that you should get so anal about it that, you know, you're worrying so much over a tenth of a dB or something like that. I wouldn't go that far, but you still really need to know when things are in the pocket. You know what I mean? So, another thing too is by improving your listening skills and being able to kind of reverse engineer what you're hearing, that's going to massively improve your sound design skills as well. Because once you're able to define what you're listening to, you're going to have a better idea of how to recreate certain sounds, you know, in synths, or recreate certain sounds with samples. Whatever it is that you're going to do, you're going to have an idea of how to approach it because you've already understood what it is that that you're going for. You know, you'll understand your attack, decay, sustain, release, all that different stuff. So all of this matters so much more than how many technical skills you have, you know. And there's no problem with creating a simple sounding song. However, you want to understand that even with that simple songs, that all the elements that are important are there in order for your song to sound professional and expensive instead of average and amateur. So keep that in mind. I hope this helps you guys. I hope this puts a new idea in your head so you're not just going down a rabbit hole of techniques. You're actually able to use the best possible tool, which is your own listening skills, your own ears. So practice that. And I'd love if you leave in the comments how this helps you over the next couple weeks or over the next couple months. I guarantee if you practice this, you will improve. So with that, take care and have a fantastic one.